FSN Radio. It's all about what's next. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and sign up for your free weekly newsletter. You'll also get 3 free reports. The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.
Welcome. You are listening to the Financial Survival Network. I'm Kerry Lutz. Today is 8/14/20. Well, you've heard us talk about EVs, electric vehicles, many times, and it's all kind of theoretical. We actually have somebody from a huge charging network. They've been at this for 12 years, and it's a pretty amazing time. The name of the company is Blink Charging, and you find them at blinkcharging.com. Michael Farkas is the CEO of the company. Michael, welcome to the show. So, by the way, if you've got an EV out there, any of you are using EVs, I'd like to hear about your experiences with them to date, how you like them, are they viable, and would you buy another? Why don't you email me at kl@kerrylutz.com. So, Michael, hey, you're in the charging business now. You've been in the charging business for 12 years. What was it like starting out 12 years ago when there was barely a Tesla to be found?
Many of my friends thought I went off the deep end, to be actually honest with you. It was way before time. We understood that it takes a very long time to develop EVs, and we also realized that it was a land grab. And we've spent the last 11 years now entering our 12th year of business, really forging relationships with property owners of all different kinds to make sure that when the cars do come out, we're the provider that they work with.
Yeah. How many cars is it going to take for there to be on the road before your company will start turning a profit?
I don't think it's necessarily about how many cars. It's a matter of how we deploy our charging stations in a disciplined fashion, along with the rollout of automobiles. There are millions of charging stations that are needed in the United States over the next 5 to 7 years. We're in a market right now where there's less than 1 million charging stations, and these are even Gen 1 units. Most of them are not viable for the future because of the upgrades and faster charging that have come out. You're really looking at maybe about 250,000 charging stations that have been deployed already that are viable. By the lowest estimates, we're looking at about 13 to 14 million charging stations needed in the next 7 or 8 years or so. This market hasn't even begun.
And who is obviously, I guess the way you work it, kind of a joint venture with the property owner, where you maintain the unit, you collect all the money, they get paid some type of fee or royalty for having your unit located on their property. Is that how that works?
That is, we have a couple of different deployment models. We are the only vertically integrated EV charging infrastructure company in the United States. And what does that mean? We design the hardware. We have it contract manufactured by a tier 1 contract manufacturer, but we design it. We built in the functionality, features, and so on. It's built to our specs. And we also operate and own the charging station network, the Blink network, that runs all of these different charging stations and provides tremendous amount of data both for us and the property owners that have them on their locations, in addition to the EV drivers that use the network. We also have experience in site acquisition, dealing with the property owners and the hosts, installing the hardware, maintaining the hardware, fixing it when it needs to, if any, and upgrading it, as well as working with the EV driver. Those experiences on the tail end of that formula, which is really installing, owning, maintaining, and dealing with the consumer, really gives you certain insight into what that hardware needs. None of our competitors who design and manufacture hardware actually own and operate hardware. So we have a tremendous advantage over our competitors.
All right. And as far as size goes, who are the biggest competitors in the field?
Right now, I would say our largest competitor on the hardware sale side of our business would be ChargePoint. On our own and operate business, would be Electrify America. Electrify America is a part of Volkswagen, and ChargePoint is an independent company at this point in time, private.
All right. So in terms of the prospects, we're going to be seeing a huge number of EVs coming out. More and more, we're seeing them. And really, obviously, competition. So it's kind of like first in class, first mover advantage. And you are definitely among the first movers here. What obstacles are you seeing?
We've built our business on, having relationships with our property owner partners. I would say the thing that we think about most right now is we have great hardware. We have a team second to none that have experience in deploying charging stations, whether it's Brendan Jones, our COO, Richard de Montfrance from one of our board members. We have a team that has experience like no one else in really deploying charging stations, building out charging infrastructure companies. And right now what we're seeing is demand, a massive increase in demand. And if we want to maintain our position, we need capital in order to go ahead and deploy charging stations where we own and operate them and not just sell them to other people.
So as far as this is an emerging field, there are going to be acquisitions, M&A activity. You poised for that?
We were. If you look at Blink as a business, we're a consolidation of 6 other companies and Blink. Blink was the first consolidator in the space. We bought a bunch of our competitors, and we believe with the appreciation of our market value over the last month and a half, we are very excited about the opportunities that are in front of us in the M&A space.
All right. Hey, so you're dealing with electricity, and when you have a large user of electricity in industry, big factory, whatever, they actually pay way less than the actual individual consumers do, called economy of scale. Do you have that capability of realizing economy of scale here, Michael?
Without a question. Right now, today, we work with independent utilities throughout the United States, wherever our charging stations are deployed. It is in our best interest to work with a wholesaler provider where we could reduce our prices for electricity and then in turn pass those savings along to our EV drivers. But yes, that is part of our game plan.
All right. So finally, when your friends, now that they're no longer doubting your sanity, when they sit down with you 12 years from now, you'll have been in this for 24 years, a large portion of your life. What's Blink going to look like then?
FSN Radio. It's all about what's next.
Today's show is brought to you by GR Silver Mining, ticker symbol TSX, GRSL, OTC, GRSLF, and their website at grsilvermining.com. The company is extremely well capitalized, currently has a resource of 40 million ounces of silver, and is looking to triple that number in just the next year alone. Its management team is first rate, headed up by Marcio Fonseca, a geologist with vast experience in mining operations and the financial sector as well. With all this going for it, and with silver trading over $25 the ounce, there's no telling how high GR Silver Mining will go. So go to grsilvermining.com to stay up to date on the latest developments and get on their notification list today.
The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.
I will, it's a good question, and I've thought about this often. Just like in any, industry, there's, a handful of players, whether you look at it from a telecom perspective or otherwise, or gasoline station companies that you have here in the U.S. You have 2, 3, 4, 5 players. I believe the same thing will occur in EV charging. I think you're going to have a handful of massive, really big players. And I know with what Blink has accomplished over the last 12 years, I'm not sure if we're going to be the leader. I hope so. I hope that that's in the cards. But I do know that whoever is going to be a substantial player in the space, we're going to be a component of it because of the footprint we've already gathered over the last 11 or so years. We've developed relationships, and we have long-term exclusive contracts with our property owners when we invest capital in their locations. Some of our contracts are 15 years in length when the property owner contributes capital to the deployment, and that's typically 5 years with 2 5-year extensions. When we provide a turnkey solution for our property owners, we're in those locations for 21 years. It's typically 7-year contracts with 2 automatic 7-year extensions. These are exclusive contracts. It's not like you're going to go into a shopping mall and you'll see a Wendy's and a McDonald's and a Burger King in the same location. If we invest in your location, we are the exclusive provider of EV charging services for any type of vehicle that needs to be fueled with electricity, whether it's a scooter, an e-bike, an electric car, or even when they have these personal drones that are going to be flying people around. Our contracts really incorporate any vehicle of any type that needs electricity to fuel.
All right. And I can see the benefit for this especially with EVs, they take longer to charge. So if you're the charging station at a convenience store, say, people are probably going to make larger purchases at these convenience stores because they're going to be stuck there longer, because it takes 20 minutes, 25 minutes on your latest charger to charge them up. So I see this as really being a great revenue enhancer for convenience stores around the country.
You have no idea. We have hard data from some of our retailers where you're looking at stores where they may have a 18 or 20 minute typical average stay. And then when they charge their cars, they're in there for 40 minutes. We have other retailers that are telling us that it's adding over an hour of time for people who are charging their cars. They're waiting for their cars to get charged on some of the slower charging stations. It is directly impacting basket size at retailers, and they're excited about having EV charging stations there. We foresee a future where charging stations will be available in multifamily residential facilities or mixed-use locations that are in urban areas that service both multifamily residential and commercial locations. That is really our sweet spot. We focus on the areas where there is very limited opportunities to charge your car outside of using public charging stations. And that's where we try to focus our investment and our capital. And you have a very, very captive audience in those locations.
All right. Well, Michael, thank you so much for coming on and talking to us about this emerging trend. It's fascinating. We wish you the best of luck. Any questions, comments? Again, tell us about your EV experiences. The email address is kl@kerrylutz.com. Twitter feed @KerryLutz, Facebook page, Financial Survival Network, our website, financialsurvivalnetwork.com. Michael, just tell us where you go to find out more information about Blink Charging.
Blinkcharging.com. And you could also look on, we are a public company, BLNK is our stock symbol.
All right. Thanks so much, Michael, and best of luck.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
FSN Radio. It's all about what's next. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and sign up for your free weekly newsletter. You'll also get 3 free reports. The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.